No more waiting. Fantasy football playoffs are finally here. Yes, this is the time that we've all been waiting for. We've been prepping all offseason, picking up players, trading guys all season just for this moment. So as we head into week 15, here's some things that have caught my eye. First, let's talk about the Dolphins offense. They seem to have gotten their mojo back, and now they're also just one game out from a potential playoff spot. So they are right in the thick of things, and this passing game is getting going just at the right time. Tua, 331 yards, 2 touchdowns. Waddle was back with 9 receptions for 99 yards. Tyreek Hill, 10 receptions, 115 yards, and a touchdown. But Jonnu Smith would not be left out. He had that late game touchdown to give him over 13 PPR points on the game as well. This offense is humming. They have got to continue to pull out all the stops to play their best football throughout the rest of the season. This offense, you're going to want as many pieces of it as you can for your fantasy playoffs. A guy that was kind of an afterthought, Khalil Shakir. Yeah, Khalil Shakir. We were talking about Keon Coleman, talking about Amari Cooper being added to this team, Dalton Kincaid having a big season. But all Khalil Shakir did all season was just say, all right, I see that, and I'm going to continue grinding, and I'm going to put up numbers. Khalil Shakir only has 2 games all season, 2 games all season where he does not have 10-plus PPR points. He has 13.1 points per game on the season. He has just been an incredibly steady option, and he only seems to be getting more and more targets as the season goes on, despite the addition of a guy like Amari Cooper. In fact, since the middle of October, he has had 7 or more targets in every single game. So now he has become a reliable, possibly even a counted on wide receiver 2 for your fantasy football playoff run. Man, Josh Jacobs is on an unreal run. Josh Jacobs started the year with his new team, and it was a little bit lackluster. He only had 11.9 points per game weeks 1 through 6. But weeks 7 through 14, he has more than doubled that number, 22.4 points per game, weeks 7 through 14. Only one game over that stretch where he did not score 20 or more PPR points. For a guy that started the season slow, he is now carrying teams during this end of the season, and hopefully he continues that into the fantasy football playoffs. Most top-end running backs come from good teams. In fact, all of the top 10 and 12 of the top 13 running backs are all from teams that are either in the playoffs or within a game of making the playoffs. So all of those teams are incredibly competitive. The one outlier, I said 12 of 13. Yeah, Chuba Hubbard is the one guy that is not on a what we would call a good real life fantasy football team that is still just absolutely balling out. RB11 on the season. And with Jonathan Brooks going down and with his new contract, he isn't just a great ad for maybe that playoff run. If you have a trade deadline where you can sneak in and get him last second, he's a great addition. But dynasty wise, I'm very, very interested as well. I liked Jonathan Brooks coming out quite a bit, but there's a chance where we don't see him next year until the end of the season, or maybe not at all once again. So this Jonathan Brooks thing could end up being one of those really disappointing fantasy assets that just never quite comes together, which is unfortunate. But I think this is good news for Chuba Hubbard. Definitely a guy I want to add to my dynasty rosters. We talked about him last week, and a lot of you paid attention. Sincere McCormick had a very solid game. We talked about him being just the 1A in this offense over Abdullah, and that was absolutely the case. 10.9 PPR points, 78 rushing yards, and 2 receptions. He's averaging 5.5 yards per carry this season on his opportunities. And honestly, I'm really interested in him for the rest of the season. He's got the 7th easiest running back schedule for the playoffs. And even if we get Alexander Mattison and Zamir White back, I don't think it's going to matter. I think Sincere McCormick is trying to prove to this team that he belongs, and Antonio Pierce needs to listen, because right now he might be coaching for his job, and Sincere McCormick is probably his best option.